Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, the United States Congressman who, rumor has it, might be running for governor of the state of Nevada. In the first of a two-part interview, we'll ask Congressman Gibbons why American soldiers in Iraq still don't have body armor and about his support for drilling for oil off the coast of California. And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Verita, Black Prothro, Bill Brainard, and Pam Dupre. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, we focus on attracting high-tech companies to Northern Nevada. One vital amenity provided to companies at TRI is a connection to a complete digital fiber network. This gives the ability of unlimited bandwidth and voice services to every business. And what's charged for the installation of this valuable asset? Nothing. Zero. Nada. And that's a pretty good deal. Welcome to the Tahoe-Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seemed to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And we welcome to the program United States Congressman Jim Gibbons. This is the first of a two-part interview. In the second part, we're going to discuss the governor's race. We're going to ask all the tough questions about Elko, about Birkenstocks, about Jim Rogers. Today, though, we're going to concentrate on congressional issues. And let's start right out. You're on the Armed Services Committee. Correct?
Sam, before we begin, let me just add that I think you and I and everybody in Reno's thoughts and prayers are with the Cashel family at this time. I think it's important for us to recognize that the mayor of Reno is going through a very difficult time right now, and we just want to make sure that the public out there knows that our thoughts and prayers are with the mayor. But Sam, I'm sorry to interrupt your...
No, and that's fine. That's very appropriate, and we love the mayor and his wife on this program, and we send them our good wishes as well. You're on the Armed Services Committee.
Yes.
Why are we still reading stories in the front page of the national press about our soldiers in Iraq still not equipped fully with body armor?
Well, first of all, we do have adequate supplies of body armor. We're up-arming our Humvees over there. Yes, we put a lot of vehicles in there in the early stages of the war without really fully anticipating the kind of explosive devices, the improvised explosive devices that we see today. That was the DOD's mistake of not anticipating that as we won the war and moved into the nation-building phase or the reconstruction of the security, that we would be facing outside insurgents with tremendously powerful, focused explosive devices that are the most dangerous types of explosives out there today.
Okay, I'm talking about in particular the story within the last week about the personal body armor that the soldiers wear, that they still are not fully up.
And that surprises me, because everybody that's out there in harm's way should have a fully equipped body armor suit for them, and we try to put everybody who's going to be out there. Now, there are soldiers who carry their personal items, their vest and body armor back with them when they rotate back to the States. What we need to do is have some way to be able to make sure that anybody moving into the theater, wherever they come from, whether it's a base in Korea, a base in Germany, has a fully equipped body armor. Excuse me. And that's part of the problem with the Department of Defense. We're rotating so many people in and out on a short time, and that we have enough for everybody there, but when they rotate out and take it with them, we need to make sure that those coming in have it. So we're still working on it. We've funded it. It just takes time because some of the manufacturers can't make it fast enough.
There was and that is a giant problem. I can't understand for the life of me why we have not invested into those companies to give them the resources they need to be working 24 hours a day so that our soldiers are safe. This is.
We have invested in those companies, and we've paid premium prices for getting the armor that goes in the vest and everything else in order to get it there quickly. We've got companies, even companies here in Reno, Nevada, that are working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, just in order to supply those pieces of protective equipment to our men and women in the military.
You know, I read an interesting article that was written by the editor of Foreign Affairs magazine, who talked about that at this point in the administration, we are seeing, instead of the big idea plans, we are now seeing a more pragmatic policy under Condoleezza Rice. Does Donald Rumsfeld survive to the end of the president's term? You know,
that's going to be a decision between the President of the United States, Sam, and Secretary Rumsfeld. You know, there's a lot of confidence that the President has in the Secretary and his decisions over in the Department of Defense. I'm not one to forecast what's going to take place in that. I know that the President will make that decision if it comes down to his loss of faith.
What's your personal feeling? I mean, has Donald Rumsfeld done anything right at this point?
Well, I think he's done a lot of things right. I think he's restructured the military. As you remember, we had to come in the beginning of 2000 and in this administration with a military that had been cut in half. The number of ships had dwindled from 700 to 340. The number of Army divisions went from 22 down to 11. Air Force fighter wings went from 24 down to 12. So literally we cut our service men and women's operational capacity in half in the 90s as a measure of the peace dividend from the collapse of the Soviet Union. Now we're having to rebuild all of this infrastructure. It's very expensive, and I think Rumsfeld has done a magnificent job of making sure that our military was rebuilt and now strategically positioned to handle the problems that we're facing in the 21st century, which are vastly different than the enemies we've ever faced before.
Okay, you also serve on Homeland Security. Yeah. What changes have we seen in this country since the London bombings?
Well, we've seen a lot of changes, Sam. Since the London bombings, we've seen searches that are starting to take place, random searches in some of our mass transportation areas. I think there's a greater focus between our first responders now on being aware of what can happen in our public transportation. You know, we've got a lot of subway systems in this country, just as London does. We've got a lot of bus routes and bus traffic and bus passengers that need to be aware that this country and our first responders have a heightened awareness today. We're looking better in terms of how we gather intelligence and sharing that now down to first responders in our local communities to make sure that they are aware of anything that goes on an international basis and what characteristics that would reflect in how our first responders here, even in our local communities, take and prepare for looking into the protection of our traveling public into our community.
Quick answer to this, if you would. You don't see a time, do you, when bus transportation and subway transportation would have the same kind of security procedures that we see currently at airports?
Well, it's rapid transportation, and that's the problem we don't want to get away from. I mean, people take the rapid transit capabilities, either the subways or the bus systems in this country because they're quick, they're easy, they're convenient. Air transportation is not as convenient because we saw 9/11. But it's a not often used traveling segment. Most people go to work every day on one of these other means. We want to make sure that the traveling public, still feels they're safe, yet still feels that they're convenient and quick to get to their destination. And to do that, we've got to put an overall presence there, but not make it so that there's long lines waiting to get through metal detectors. If you do that, by golly, you're going to lose a lot of public support for our system of travel in this state.
And quite frankly, I am tired of taking off my tennis shoes when I go through airports. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
If it's fun, it's here at the Peppermill, the $100,000 video-themed sloth celebration, with more winners each week, 100 random winners every Monday and Wednesday, and more cash prizes, $6,000 random drawings every Friday, plus chances to win up to $1,000 in free slot play on Mr. Money's Challenge. You'll have more fun with the Peppermill's video-themed sloth celebration, now worth over $100,000.
The slots that rock are at the Peppermill. Where are you winning?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And we're continuing with our first half of our interview with U.S. Congressman Jim Gibbons. We're going to be talking about congressional issues today. The second part, which will come out in a couple of weeks, is going to be about that governor's race that I've heard rumors you might be interested in. Let us... okay, I just thought I'd just throw that out there. Seriously, why are we still not protecting our chemical plants? I met with a military contractor the other day that's starting to put out bids for security and surveillance for chemical plants. How come all this time after 9/11 we haven't done that?
Well, first of all, it's a matter of resources. When you've only got X number of dollars, and a lot of these are...
We're spending $2 billion a week in Iraq.
We are, well, and that's an international security issue. And let me answer that question to the point that as we reduce our effort overseas in terms of going after the terrorist over there. We have been, over the course of the last 4 years, upgrading our security here. I will guarantee you that every one of those chemical plants has an upgraded security system since 9/11. There's not one chemical plant out there that doesn't have either an advanced security system around it. They've paid for either through private dollars, because these are not public chemical plants. These are not chemical plants that are owned by the taxpayers. These are chemical plants owned by companies, and companies have the responsibility for protecting their own property. But you're right. We need to do more. We're working with them. It's an evolutionary process, and we will make sure that we have the right level of security based on the threat to each one of those chemical plants.
Let me ask you this on a different topic. Price of oil obviously going through the roof.
Yeah.
Pat Mulroy was on the program earlier this week talking about the California Coastal Commission not wanting desalination plants off the coast of Southern California that the Southern Nevada Water Authority in the future would like to build to be able to give water to Southern California, and then Southern Nevada will be able to take the water from the Colorado River that currently goes to California. You would like to see drilling for oil off the coast of California,
sure,
along with the Arctic National Wildlife Area. What kind of opposition will you face from the Coastal Commission?
You're going to face the same misinformation about drilling for oil off the coast of California as there's always been. They look at all of the seeps, the natural seeps that are coming up from the bottom of the ocean and polluting the shores today. 1,000 times greater is this natural seep of oil onto the shores of California than any spill. The problem is that there's no identification or no information put out that's honest to the people about the need for energy, the source of those energies in terms of area that we have available to us, the fact that we have to get our nation off of dependence on foreign sources and sometimes hostile country sources of energy and oil for America.
And currently Venezuela is not exactly our best friend.
I would say he's one of the hostile leaders toward America.
And that's a huge amount of oil that comes into this country.
Tremendous.
The big question, though, that goes along with this is refining capacity.
That's our
You
bottleneck.
can bring as much oil as you want to this country, but we can't get it refined. And in fact, if any refineries go offline, it's disastrous.
Sure.
What can be done on a federal level to encourage the oil companies to build more refineries?
Well, I think first of all, we have to look at the permitting process. We have to expedite a permitting process. We know this is a national issue. We know it's one that we haven't solved in 30 years. We have to look at how we do things today, modernize the process, making sure that every one of us and our goals of clean water and clean air are met with that process, but make sure that we don't avoid the environmental concerns that everybody has in this process, but we need to expedite the permitting process to get those built.
Okay, last question here.
And we may have to give some tax incentives to some of these companies to build them. There's no incentive out there for them to invest right now.
No, absolutely not, because the reports of the just record windfall profits that are occurring right now, maybe it's time to bring back the windfall profits tax.
Well, a lot of their profits made overseas, where the world market for oil is set. And these companies are importing 60% of our oil based on a world market price.
But still record profits.
Can't deny that.
Okay, you're coming back for the second half of this interview in a couple of weeks. Can't wait, and we'll talk about the possibility you might enter the governor's race. Congressman Jim Gibbons, thanks for being here.
Sam, it's a pleasure to be on your show.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we focus on attracting high-tech companies to northern Nevada. One vital amenity provided to companies at TRI is a connection to a complete digital fiber network. This gives the ability of unlimited bandwidth and voice services to every business. And what's charged for the installation of this valuable asset? Nothing. Zero. Nada. And that's a pretty good deal. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
You bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And right off the bat, before we get into our Power Pundit panel today, we just want to wish U.S. Senator Harry Reid a speedy recovery. He had a mini stroke last week and is recovering and should be back in Congress with no problems, and we just wish him the best. Let's go to our Power Pundit panel today. For the first time on the program, pleasure to have you here, Verita Prothro, who is the Northern Nevada Director for U.S. Senator John Ensign, Bill Brainard, community activist, and Pam Dupre, who is Executive Director of the Washoe County Democratic Party. We sat here and watched the interview with Jim Gibbons, and I get the sense that you might have a couple of comments.
Well, there were so many things that Congressman Gibbons said that struck me. Okay. Well, he said, I'm pretty sure I heard him say that we had won the war, and I'm assuming he's talking about the war in Iraq. We haven't even won the war in Afghanistan, much less the war in Iraq. He should probably touch bases with some Republicans.
I think I'd have to go back and look at that, because I don't recall him saying that we'd won the war.
Yes, he did.
He did. He said it, of course. There's no armed, there's no military in either one of those that is opposing us. So I guess if you consider that war, we won the war. Now, you may have insurgents and you may have folks that are kind of like the French underground driving us crazy, but we did, in fact, beat the formal military Iraq.
Well, we have not won the war in Iraq. We haven't even, like I said, won the war in Afghanistan. 4 soldiers killed in Afghanistan just over the weekend. So we have a serious, obviously serious situation there. More and more people are disagreeing with Congressman Gibbons on the situation in Iraq, including a lot of Republicans. Chuck Hagel over the weekend comparing Iraq to Vietnam, saying that staying the course, as George Bush insists we need to do, and people like Gibbons insist we need to do, is not working, and it's never going to work.
You know, Verita, it's interesting to see the tide starting to turn, with more and more people now saying that we should get out of Iraq. How do you feel that this is going? Are we looking at a repeat of Vietnam, where suddenly the country has made the decision that we're leaving? And the main thing that's going to drive this, of course, is the midterm elections.
Absolutely, Sam. I think that's what happens in wars. People, when casualties happen, people get upset. They don't want to see that. But I think that we can't deny the good things that have happened there. The elections were amazing. They were very moving. And now that they're working on their constitution, things are happening there. I think we just have to be patient, and we can't just pull people out now that they're there. That would be more catastrophic.
There's a difference between, there's something in between staying the course and pulling out.
Well,
and I think that's where we need to talk about.
We'll start pulling troops out sometime next year.
Well, but his own top commanders don't agree with him. They're saying 100,000 troops through 2009. That's not much of a pullback.
We've always intended to leave. It's just a question of what are we leaving behind when we leave. And that's the problem.
Absolutely.
And it always, and if you wish to leave that country, without government, that's going to basically fall back into what it was before, we haven't really resolved an awful lot.
Well, it really wouldn't do that.
It's not going to fall back to what it was before.
That's what the ironic part is.
Yes.
Because the Sunnis are a minority group there. I think you see the total collapse of the country of Iraq at this point, which is, basically 3 different cultures thrown together.
Kind of like Yugoslavia.
Absolutely.
Yes, we had the Bosnia,
Well, and this whole timetable thing is more for the Bush administration than it is for the people of Iraq. I mean, they need a constitution and a new legislature by 2006, and everything's got to be just all set in place according to the Bush administration schedule in time for those 2006 congressional elections. So this is a timetable for the Republican Party and not what's in the best interest for the people of Iraq. Well, they obviously can't meet this timetable.
Well, we're trying to come up with a time when we can actually pull out and not get across the world be considered, oh, gee, you abandoned these folks. You go in there. It's kind of like what we did to some of the folks in Vietnam. The Hmongs, we pulled out away from them, and they came, they weren't very happy. And so I don't think it's a real good idea for us to go around the world and say, we go in and start things, but then when things don't go exactly the way we want them, we pull out. That's not a good message.
Neither is staying the course a good message, because staying the course is not working.
Okay, but Verita, from your seat, you're in the middle of politics. Senator Ensign is up for re-election in 06. Does this play into his plans?
Well, of course he is concerned about what's going on there, but Sam, you just can't deny that progress is being made there. Whether people feel like the timeline is being driven by the elections or not, you have to have a timeline. You can't just say, well, at some point we hope they have a constitution and that these things get done. There has to be a timeline. You have to have goals that you're working toward, and progress is being made.
Well, there's no power, there's no water, and they're importing oil in Iraq these days. I don't think anything's true. I don't know that anything's working.
Well, that's fine, but it's actually not true. I mean, if you talk, Ty Cobb Jr., who's been on this program many times, talks about the success that they've had in helping to rebuild portions of the infrastructure. They're in a lot better shape than they were certainly a year ago.
Portions of the infrastructure.
That's where we got to leave it. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Abadi Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
On tomorrow's broadcast, we'll explore one of the real hidden gems of the university system, DRI, with Dr. Stephen Wells and Dr. Jim Turner. Also, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers anytime now on the web at nevadanewsmakers.com. You can also send us emails from there, and we love to get them. Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers.